So today, as you probably saw in your notes, we are doing parts of a sentence. Okay, now again, you probably had some of this before, so hopefully a lot of it will be review. What I want you to do is if you're going to be tempted to work on your homework, I want you to put it away. Okay, out of sight, out of mind for now. I don't want to see you working on the worksheet during class. Otherwise, I'm going to take it away. But that's just rude. Yeah, I see you, son. See. Okay, so we're just gonna, I'll try to blaze through this pretty quick so that hopefully you guys can get most of your homework done for the edit period, because none of this stuff is like crazy complicated. So, make sure you're filling out, oh, just when I get comfy. Make sure you guys are filling out those guided notes that you picked up from the back cube. And I will post this on Google Classroom. We're done. Okay, so we're talking about subjects and predicates today, or subjects and verbs, and how to identify subjects in a sentence. And we're going to look at some like weird sentences where the subjects aren't always going to like be in the normal spot. Okay, so first we have to talk about what a subject and a predicate are. So just as a review, when we're talking a complete subject, okay, that tells who or what the sentence is about. That should be who or what, not whom or what. What the heck? Alright, I made this like 4 years ago. Haven't changed it since. Okay, so it tells who or what the sentence is about, and then the complete subject will include the subject and all modifiers of the subject. So if there are any adjectives that are like modifying the subject of the sentence, the complete subject includes all of that. But when we're just looking for like the single word subject, that's just who or what the sentence is about. And then we have this thing called the predicate. And the predicate is pretty much everything else in the sentence. So it tells what the subject is or does or what happens to the subject. So it's going to be the verb of the sentence. And then like any modifiers of the verbs, any adverbs, and everything after the verb too. So here would be an example. Hurricane force winds is the complete subject. What's the single word subject there? Who or what is this sentence about? Lauren? Yeah, winds is the single subject. Hurricane force is an adjective modifying the subject, so that whole thing together is the complete subject. Whew. And then we've got the predicate, highlighted in yellow. So tear the sails off the mast. What is the verb? Okay? Yeah, tear is the verb, okay? It tells us what the winds are doing. The sails is telling us what it's tearing. Off the mast is telling us where it's sailing the sails, tearing the sails. So that whole thing is the complete predicate. Very rarely will I ask you to identify the complete subject and the complete predicate. Normally I'll just ask you to say where's the subject and where's the predicate, but I just want you to kind of know how the sentences are normally split up. So go ahead and tell me what is the complete subject of this sentence. So the who or what the sentence is about and all the modifiers of it. We're looking for the complete subject, not the single word subject, the complete subject. Preposition 5. Okay, who or what is this sentence about? What's the subject of this sentence? Aiden, what's the subject of the sentence? Okay, single word subject? Yeah, teachers, but crazy teachers is our complete subject, because crazy is an adjective modifying teachers, so you guys should have chose B on that one. Okay? Alright, try this one. We're looking for the predicate. The predicate of the sentence. Preposition 5. Alright, not too shabby. Okay, let's start with the subject. Who or what is this sentence about? Who or what is this sentence about? Yeah, man, it's about me. Okay, so Mrs. Berg is the subject, and that would actually be the complete subject as well because that doesn't have any modifiers. And then, what is Mrs. Berg doing? What's the verb? Teaches, and what is she teaching? So grammar, teaches grammar is our complete predicate. You should have chosen D on that one, okay? All right, I feel like we get that. So now we're going to move on to something a little more complicated. So we can have two or more subjects and or verbs in a single sentence. So when that happens, it's called a compound. So compound subjects are going to be made up of two or more subjects that share one verb. So here would be an example. Divers and climbers share a love of adventure. Okay, so we have two subjects here, divers and climbers, and they're both sharing the verb share, ironically. Okay, and then we can also have compound verbs. Okay, and they're just like compound subjects, but instead of being the subject, it's the verb. So that's two or more verbs or verb phrases that maybe share a subject or a compound subject. So here would be an example of that. The exhausted diver ate and moaned. Okay, diver is our subject. It's who or what the sentence is about. And the diver is doing two things. He's aching and he's moaning. Okay, so we have the compound verb there. Is this making sense? Pretty straightforward stuff, I feel like. Okay, so I want you to identify where the compound is in this sentence. Is it a compound subject, a compound verb, neither, or both? Figure out who or what the sentence is about. Figure out who or what the subject is doing. And figure out where your compound is. Let's try to finish in 5. Any responses from everybody? Good guess if you don't know. Nathan, waiting on you, bud. Okay. All right, most of us got it. Who or what is this sentence about? You guys are alive today. Oh boy. Feeling the Friday blues. Who or what is this sentence about? A lot of you got it. Oh wait, who or what is this sentence about? Yeah, girl. Children and adults. Oh my gosh, it's about two or more things. So our compound is in our subject, right? So you guys should have chosen A because can survive is our verb. Okay, now I know that looks like it has two verbs, but that's actually a verb phrase. Okay, it's a helping verb and an action verb that together make up one single verb phrase. So you got to be careful with that. All right, verb phrases only count as one. All right, try this one. Where's the compound in that sentence? Okay. You think Malachi? Joyce? Shoes are coming off. I'm just trying to trick you on this one. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to figure this out together. All right. Do you remember the rule that I told you yesterday about prepositional phrases? What can never be inside of a prepositional phrase? Who remembers? Auburn? Yes. The subject and the verb of a sentence can never be inside of a prepositional phrase. Do you guys see any prepositional phrases up there? Lauren? On the beach, get rid of it. Look. What else? Tape. In the water, get rid of it. Look. Okay. We significantly just narrowed down where our subjects and our verbs can be. Right? Who or what is this sentence about? Santi? Yeah, man. Okay. What are the boats doing? Okay. So the boats are speeding. So this is our verb, and you put this all together. Okay, sped past the people. That's going to be our predicate, right? People is like a direct object. Okay, past is telling us where they sped. So past is an adverb. Okay, we haven't learned about direct objects yet this year. Okay, but just know that it's part of the predicate. Okay, so it's the people on the beach and the people in the water is where we're speeding past, right? So technically, this is all part of the predicate. So how many subjects and verbs do we have in the sentence? What answer should you have chosen? You choose the right one. What's the answer? A, B, or C? Do we have a compound subject? Do we have two or more subjects? How many subjects do we have? Oh, come on. Dude, I wrote it on the board. How many subjects do we have? This is not a trick question. How many S's are on that board? One. We have one subject. How many verbs do we have? One. Do we have a compound in this sentence? We need a nap. Creighton's like, yeah. Creighton, do we have a compound in the subject? Or in this sentence? Is there a compound subject? Are there two or more subjects? Are there two or more verbs? Do we have a compound here? No. No, we do not, okay? You guys can't let big sentences and long sentences trip you up. Okay, just do what I did. Get rid of the prepositional phrases. Okay, figure out what your subject is, figure out what your verb is, and then see if the rest of the sentence is part of the predicate. Okay? Don't let big sentences trip you up. That's kind of the moral of that story. I really kind of wish this couch wasn't here. This is going to be an interesting year, writing on the board. All right, erase that. Hold down my projector again. Hang on. Okay. Think this next one through, okay? Think it through before you answer. Try that one. Did your screen just change? Good. Because I want you to try something else. Okay? I want you guys to cross out prepositional phrases. I want you to put an S over who or what the sentence is about for your subject. And I want you to put a V over what the subject is doing. Try definition 5. I don't think we know what's going on here. This is kind of a mess. All right, let's talk about it. Now, this one's kind of not fair of me to give you guys because there's something that we haven't learned in this slide. Okay, so prepositional phrases. Look for those prepositions. Where do we have prepositional phrases that we can get rid of? And actually, I'm going to unlock you guys, and as we talk about this, I want you to do this, okay? Where do we have prepositional phrases we can get rid of? Lauren? Okay, throughout the world is a prepositional phrase. Get rid of it. Cross it out on your computer if you haven't already done so. We have one more prepositional phrase here. Okay, and it's a weird one, but we do have one more. Auburn, what do you think it is?
By sharing
Keep going.
what we have.
Yes. Okay, by sharing what we have is another prepositional phrase. Thank you. Now, you guys, this is what's called, this is a gerund. Okay, it looks like a verb, but it functions as a noun. So this, sharing what we have, is actually the object of the preposition by. Now, here's my little hint to you when it comes to figuring out if you've got prepositional phrases at the start of a sentence. Anytime you see a comma right here at the start of a sentence that comes before the verb, chances are it's also coming before the subject, and everything before it is a phrase. And you just need to get rid of it. Okay, you only have commas here if you have a phrase that starts a sentence. Okay, so this comma at the start of a sentence is going to tell you, hey, you have a phrase at the start of the sentence. You probably need to get rid of it. Okay, so if we cross that out by sharing what we have, hopefully you all did that on your computer, cross out throughout the world, we've really narrowed down where our subject and our verb of our sentence to be, right? So, if we have those things crossed out, all we have left is we could eliminate poverty and end hunger. Who or what is that portion of the sentence about? What do we think? I want to hear from somebody I haven't heard from yet. Who or what is that portion of the sentence about? Mary! Yes, we. Okay? The sentence is about we. So put a big old S over we, because we is the subject. Does everybody have an S over we? Okay. Now, what are we doing? What's the verb here? Raise your hand, so, okay, eliminate, and it's actually could eliminate. We've got a verb phrase, okay, we've got the helping verb could, and then eliminate is the action verb. Okay, so we've got one verb phrase there. Okay, poverty is part of the predicate for that verb, because poverty is the direct object, but again, we haven't learned about that. We just blacked out your screen. I can see you. Okay, undo that. Okay, do we have another verb here? What else is happening with the rest of the sentence? And hunger? Is there another verb there? Auburn? End. Just end is the verb. Hunger is the direct object of that verb, so it is part of the complete predicate. Okay, so how many subjects do we have in this sentence? Shout it out, everyone. How many subjects do we have in this sentence? One. Shout it out. How many verbs do we have in this sentence? So where is our compound? The verb. Okay? Our compound is in the verb. So do you see how important it is to really pick apart each piece of the sentence? If you can cross out those prepositional phrases, that's really going to narrow down where your subject and your verb can be. Okay. Now that we kind of have a better grasp on how we identify the subjects and the verbs, we're going to talk about some different kinds of sentences and how the subjects and the verbs can get weird in them. But first we have to talk about the different kinds of sentences. So, there are 4 kinds of sentences. Maybe you've heard of them before. The first one is called a declarative sentence. And what a declarative sentence does is it just expresses a fact, a wish, a feeling, an intent, etc. I love tacos. That's a declarative sentence. Okay? They always end with a period. The next type of sentence is an interrogative. Ooh, wait, where have we seen that word before? What does that word sound like? Interrogative. Interrogate. And when we interrogate, what do? We ask a lot of questions. Okay, so interrogative sentences are always going to be questions. Do you want to go get tacos with me? Okay, interrogative. They're always going to end with a question mark. The next kind of sentence is imperative. Imperative sentences express a command. It's like, ooh, it's imperative. It's important that you do this. Go get me tacos, right? Usually they end with a period. Sometimes they'll end with an exclamation point. If it's like, go get me tacos, right? It's really an intense command. And then the last kind of sentence is exclamatory. Okay, an exclamation. You hear that? Exclamatory, exclamation. These ones end in an exclamation point always. I love tacos! Right? Exclamation point. So those are the different kinds of sentences. Okay? And we'll, all right, try to identify. Oh, this mess is not breathable. Try to identify what kind of sentence this is. Use your notes if you have to, okay? Okay, let's try to finish in 5. Nathan? Marcus? Okay, not bad, not bad. What does it end with? Ends with a question mark. Okay, what is the only type of sentence that's going to end with a question mark? Look at your notes. What's the only type of sentence that ends with a question mark? Mary? Interrogative, like interrogate. Okay, so this is an interrogative question, or an interrogative sentence, because it ends with a question mark. Okay, try this one. Finish in 5. Okay, not bad, not bad. So this one is just expressing a fact, right? It's just saying, hey, sharks think that humans are seals or other prey. So if we're just stating a fact, it's a declarative sentence, right? We're just declaring a statement of truth. This is not an imperative. So I always get declarative and imperative mixed up. Okay, but just think declare, you're declaring something. Okay, so just like a statement or a fact or a truth or whatever. Imperative, it's like imperative. You guys know what that means? It's important that you do something. So imperative is a command. It's going to tell you to do something. All right, try this one. Finish in 5. All right, got it in the last second. Nice job. Okay, we just talked about this one. This one is expressing a command, right? It's saying, don't do that! Don't do that! You're going to get your arm eaten! Okay? So if we express a command, it's imperative because it's imperative. It's important that you don't do that, right? All right, you guys feel comfortable with the types of sentences? Questions so far? Okay, we got a little more ways to go. Here we go. So now we're going to talk about some types of sentences where you're going to have, words are hard today, guys. We're going to talk about some types of sentences where the subjects may not be in the usual spots. Because normally we have like subjects coming before our verb in a sentence. Well, we have these awesome things called inverted sentences. And in an inverted sentence, the subject actually comes after the verb or part of the verb phrase. So if you have a verb phrase with like a helping verb and an action verb, your subject may come right smack dab in the middle of the verb phrase. It's crazy. Inverted sentences are nuts. So here's an example of a normal sentence where the subject, highlighted in blue, comes before the verb, highlighted in yellow. The savage storm came down on the Spanish galleon. An inverted sentence would look like this. Down came the savage storm on the Spanish galleon. Okay, so here in this sentence, we've got our verb coming before our subject. Okay, it's inverted. It's switched around from the normal way. So you just have to be kind of careful with these types of sentences. You really have to ask your question to find your subject. Who or what is the sentence about? And then what are they doing to find the verb? Okay, so we have this famous dude, Yoda. Yoda loves to speak in inverted sentences. It's kind of his thing. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to rewrite this sentence that Yoda says, "Teacher Yoda speak, I will," into a regular sentence where the subject comes before the verb. Now here's the trick. Listen to the trick so you don't mess this up. Do not add or take away any words from that sentence. All you're doing is rearranging the words already there so that the subject of the sentence comes before the verb. So just ask yourself, who or what is this sentence about? Okay, because that's going to be your subject. And then what's the verb? Make sure the subject comes before the verb when you rewrite it. Aiden, you're overthinking it. Now you guys, Yoda speak is one word because it's hyphenated. So don't split those words up. That's one word. Let's try to finish in 5. Okay, most of us are getting it. This is looking really good. Actually, did everything? Yeah, I think pretty much all of you got it. Okay, so the subject of this sentence is I. So we need to make sure that I comes before the verb. And what's our verb in this sentence? Teach is our verb. Okay, so we need the I to come before teach. So all you have to do is you have to take this part at the end and move it to the front. I will teach you Yoda speak. And I think pretty much everybody did that, so nice job. Okay, some other tricky sentences that you guys are going to see with identifying the subject and verb are sentences that begin with the word here or the word there. Okay, so here and there are rarely going to be subjects. I would say for the purpose of our class, you're never going to see here and there as a subject, like ever. Okay? The subject of a sentence that begins with one of these words usually follows the verb. So again, these are going to be inverted sentences. So here would be an example. Okay, so this sentence starts with the word here, but here is not our subject. Okay? So the sentence reads, "Here is the massive anchor of the galleon." Okay? Anchor is our subject. Where's our verb? Woo, tricky. Where's our verb at, Creighton? It is this. Do you remember what kind of verb that is, Creighton? Am is our verb. Am is our verb. These are verbs. These are verbs. What? Yeah, man. action verbs. You guys have to have those memorized, okay? So is our verb, anchor is our subject, so just notice how the subject comes after the verb in this sentence that starts with here. Same thing is going to happen if you have a sentence that starts with there. I mean, we can put there, there. There is the massive anchor of the galleon, okay? The subject and the verb is still the same. Okay. So not the subject. All right, yep. Okay, questions. So a lot of the time when you have a question, the subject will come after the verb or even inside of the verb phrase. So the kind of like trick to help you with this, and it does not help with all questions, okay? It just helps with some. But one way that it will help is if you change the question into a statement. So if you had this question, was the cargo of the galleon valuable? Okay, notice cargo is still our subject, and then the verb phrase is was valuable. It's our helping verb and our action verb. Okay, so we can rewrite this into a statement, and then the subject will come before the verb. The cargo of the galleon was valuable. Okay, so sometimes, it doesn't work all the time with questions, but sometimes if you just rewrite it into a statement, it'll kind of help you see where the subject and the verb are a little bit easier. Okay, last one. Imperative sentences. Oh, what are those again? What's an imperative sentence? Aiden? Yes, okay, an imperative sentence is a command. So the subject of imperative sentences is usually not stated because the subject is usually you. Okay, so if I say, go get me tacos, right? That's an imperative sentence. It's a command. I'm talking to a Wang, okay, but I'm not saying, oh, Wang, go get me tacos, or you, go get me tacos. It's just an implied subject. Because we're usually looking at the person we're giving the command to, we normally don't have to state the subject. Okay, so just know that in imperative sentences, the subject is usually not stated, and it's usually just a you, like an implied you as the subject. So here's another example. Beware the wild cat, right? There's an understood you before that. Like, hey, you, beware the wild cat, right? We don't have to state it. It's just implied. So just be careful of that. Okay, we're going to end the class with some practice. So take your time. Remember the rule about prepositional phrases. Who can remind me? What's the rule with prepositional phrases? What will never be inside of a prepositional phrase? Somebody I haven't heard from today. Who have I not heard from? Lauren! Or no, I've heard from Lauren. Maddie! I was looking at Maddie and I said Lauren. Maddie! What will never be inside of a prepositional phrase? See, Maddie, I knew you knew it. You can't hide back there. The subject and the verb will never be inside of a prepositional phrase. Okay, so if you can get rid of the prepositional phrases first, it'll narrow down where your subject and your verb can be. All right, let's give this a go. So I want you to underline the subject in this sentence and circle the verb. And if it helps, cross out those prepositional phrases. Okay, so go ahead and do that now. We're just looking for the single word subject and the single word verb or verb phrase. Try to finish in 5. Okay, you guys are crushing it. Ah, who did that? Aiden! Yeah. Don't do that. Then you mess up my class view. Look at that. Garbage. Garbage. There's already a cool outline on it. Okay, but for the most part, we got it, right? We saw that out of nowhere is a prepositional phrase, so we got rid of it. Okay, then it really narrows down where our subject and our verb can be. So we asked ourselves, who or what is the sentence about? And our answer was what? Storm. So storm is our subject. What is fierce? Adjective describing describing the storm. Okay, so it's an adjective describing the storm. So storm is our subject. This is an adjective. What is the storm doing? Sprang. Okay, it sprang. So sprang is our verb, and then is also modifying storm, an article, making it an adjective. All right, try this one. Okay, try to finish in 5. Well, the good news is, now we got rid of our prepositional phrases. All right, what are they? What's our first prepositional phrase? Nope, that's not our first one. Lauren, what's our first one? Yes, from every ship. Remember, from is one of our key prepositions. Okay, and ship is the object. So from the ship is our first one. Mary, what's our second one? In the fleet is our second one. So that whole line, boom, gone. Our subject and our verb can't be there. Do we have another prepositional phrase? Aiden? For help. Boom, gone. Oh my gosh, you guys, we're left with 3 words. Came, pitiful cries. Okay, I think it's personally, well, this one's tough. Okay, this one's tough, but you have to think about who or what are those 3 words about. What is the only thing it can be? Who or what? This one's a what? It's about cries. So cries looks like it's a verb, right? But in this instance, it's not acting as a verb. It's acting as the subject. So cries is our subject. Pitiful is an adjective modifying cries. And then came is the verb. Okay, it has to be the verb. So this is an, ooh, I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to ask you. What kind of sentence is this? Where the subject comes after the verb. I will. Yeah, it's an inverted sentence, right? The subject comes after the verb. So if we rearrange this, it would be from every ship in the fleet, pitiful cries came for help. Easy, right? You guys are getting it. You really are. You're learning a lot. All right, let's try this one. Remember all your rules. Try to finish in 5. What kind of sentence is this? There are 4 kinds of sentences. What kind of sentence is this? Never doubt the men's skill and bravery. Jacob? Declarative. No. Yes. Imperative. See, I always get those two confused. It's imperative. Imperatives do what? What do imperative sentences do? Diana? Yes. Okay. Imperative sentences give a command. What is usually the implied subject of a command. Who remembers? We just talked about it. What is usually the implied or unstated subject of a command? Lathan, I haven't heard from you today. What is normally the implied subject of a command? When we're giving a command, who are we normally talking to? Yeah, and who is the subject? Nope. Lathan, I'm going to say this to you. I'm giving you this command. Never doubt the men's bravery. Who am I talking to? Yep, I'm talking to you. Okay, so the implied subject of imperative command sentences is going to be you. So do we have a subject here that we should have underlined? I just gave you the answer if you were listening. Is there going to be a stated subject here that we need to underline? No, because it's an implied subject of you. So there's no subject here. The subject is you. So if you wanted to, you could put like parentheses here and write you and then put an S over it. But there's no stated subject here. So what's the verb? You what? Malachi? Doubt. Doubt is the verb. Okay? That was a tough one. But now you know, right? Watch out for those imperative sentences. Okay, a couple more. Try this one. Okay, remember, what's the first thing that we should do when we're trying to find the subject and the verb? What do we get rid of first? Auburn, what do we get rid of? We get rid of our prepositional phrases. Okay, don't forget to do that because that's really going to help. So the first thing you should do is cross out any prepositional phrases you see. Let's try to finish in 5. You guys, nice job. Nice job. This is looking really good. Where are our prepositional phrases? What can we get rid of? Creighton, can you give me a prepositional phrase? Yeah, of nature. Boom, get rid of it. What's another one? Lauren? About the power. Boom, get rid of it. Okay, so that whole bottom line is out. Our subject and our verb cannot be there. Okay, now this is one of those weird sentences. That's a phone in your pocket, I see. Right here. Cannot hide in the corner from me. Oh, bummer, you guys came here earlier. Okay, so remember, when we have sentences that start with here or there, here and there are never going to be the subject. Okay, and the subject in these kind of sentences normally comes after the what? You guys are so lively today, you need to settle down. Calm down, you guys, you're being so crazy. Okay, let me say it again. In sentences that start with here or there, the subject of the verb usually comes after the what? Lauren? After the verb. The subject usually comes after the verb. So, you guys got it. Okay, I wasn't trying to like trick you. Lesson is our subject, which most of you identified. And then what's our verb? Okay. Is. It's one of our what verbs? Linking verbs. One of our linking verbs. Okay, this is the last practice. See if we can get it. 100%. Cross out those prep phrases. figure out who or what your sentence is about. Don't overthink this one. Okay. Let's just start. We're going to be struggling on this one. Because questions are tough, right? Questions are tough. Do we have any prepositional phrases here that we can get rid of? Or Auburn?
Of 260
Of 260 lives, we can get rid of that. Okay, it doesn't get rid of a lot, but at least it's something. Who or what is the sentence about? Malachi? No. Who or what is the sentence about? Santi? It is who. Okay, you guys, who is a pronoun. You can have a pronoun as a subject. So who is actually our subject here, and what is who doing? What's the verb? Burn. Witnessed. Okay, and all of this is just telling us what who witnessed. Crazy, right? You guys are going to be great. These examples are way tougher than your homework. And speaking of homework, you're doing that packet, odd numbers only. Okay, odd numbers only today, so you may want to write that on there. You guys are going to be great. Email me if you have questions over the weekend, okay?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday! Indeed.